And so music was a big part of Endless Adventure, especially with the arrangements with Space Dust Surfer. The big break. Now all of a sudden the founder had music that no one else could have, and it was really good. And so he took advantage by using it almost exclusively. You learn the technique to record fairly simply, with enough audio quality, and you can make tons and tons of content using his method. Having felt like he had known the public enough and respected it enough that he felt like if you gave the public respect for their intelligence and their higher aspirations, you would go further than by the approved methods that would be in most educational systems would say. That, in fact, it's been proven that if you are insulting to your audience, it's a good way to connect. Now that's hard to understand, and so he had to understand balance. Yes, you must be respectful of their intelligence. However, no one likes to hear just one side. And so becoming balanced was always the goal, and also the times the public was very sensitive. And so Endless Adventures became aggressive and began to amplify their voice on the playing field, and they were beginning to flourish. Their audience was growing and sprouting new avenues all over. They were thriving with vigorous and zealous fans, and expanding and energetic programs, and a burgeoning market. With the budding success was all over, and they were augmenting various things together, and the aggression paid off. And of course, they had been stifled and was static in the past, and the podcast section is more contained, more controlling, and simply not a place where your expression could thrive. However, simply being aggressive wasn't enough. He had to be organized, and he did catch a few breaks. However, he used his instincts the secret. And the secret was, we said he a lot in the last segment because it was a one-man operation, as many of these podcasts are. It's not that unusual. But this one, nothing's a one-man operation, because making it might be a one-man operation, but getting it to turn into something, that's never a one-man operation. And that was the first lesson. So it's now a we process, an endless adventure. Finally learned we. And we, as in get the audience involved, is essential for success financially, to cover your audience. It also makes sense because if you get them involved, you'll get involved with them. Is there interaction and some energy? And so energy became part of the dynamic. The shows became more energized. As the podcast was growing and sprouting everywhere, it became a challenge to decide exactly what to spend time on creatively. So let's take a minute right now to forget all that stuff we just talked about, and let's talk a moment about the man behind the podcast, the Endless Adventure founder, which is kind of the point of this whole segment, is to allow the audience to know pretty much how what they watch is made, who makes them, and perhaps why. He likes to do his voices. He can do voices and he does a good job with it. And so that was a big part. He could create lots of different content, and he probably overstepped his reach at times and became a little reckless. But he also wasn't afraid. He wasn't afraid to break boundaries and take chances, and I think that helped a lot. Being aggressive, just amplifying the message and getting better at producing just little things, and becoming more of a perfectionist in his work. And editing was the biggest thing that a person in his situation has to encounter, because that's when the time consuming and just energy consuming is in editing. If you've ever put together any kind of production, a musical cut, any music people out there, you certainly know what I'm talking about. Editing is everything. You must have the ability to produce good content, but even so, to make it presentable in a proper manner, you have to know a lot of tricks. And so, our founder of Endless Adventure was not particularly good with the computer in those ways. He was learning. He was trying to operate this off an Android system, which of course would be fallacy. But once he integrated the computer and all the benefits that brought, then it just became a matter of overcoming some of the natural obstacles. And we're going to talk about those in just a moment when we come back. What were the obstacles to having any sort of success, even just to make it worth doing for the sake of doing, not even regarding the audience? We'll talk about that when we come back. That's good. That's awesome. That was really good music, man.